and I'm sure that most of you have heard by now.
What?
Jaime Munguia versus Maciej Suliecki is off. Jaime Munguia versus Kamil Zeremata is in. That is the same Kamil Zeremata that Gennady Golovkin played with.
He did.
The same Kamil Zeremata that was knocked down several times by Gennady Golovkin in Gennady's last fight. In that fight, you got the sense that if this guy's still standing and if this guy's still here, it really is only because Gennady wants him to still be here, because he could finish him at any moment. He could finish him at any time. Gennady looked to have been working on things with Kamil Zeremata, the things he seems to have been adding to his repertoire as a result of enlisting the aid of Jonathan Banks,
his trainer.
I want to say that the look of Gennady here today isn't the Gennady Golovkin of old. He's not as aggressive. He's not pumping out the jab as much. He is moving a little more than he used to move. He does seem a little bit lighter on his feet. And you know, he played with Kamil Zeremata. If that fight went on as long as it did, it's only because Gennady Golovkin wanted it to go on that long. That's the Kamil Zeremata that Jaime Munguia is going to be facing on June 19th.
I mean, at least they were able to save the date, right?
Right. At least they didn't have to end up calling the card off altogether. So that's the silver lining. June 19th, this month, later on this month, is set to be a very busy weekend in the sport of boxing. This is one of several cards that are all set to go down on the 19th. And the Poland's own Kamil Zeremata. He hasn't rebounded off that loss to Gennady Golovkin late last year. He hasn't had a fight since then, a rebound fight. That was in December of last year, towards the end of the year. Kamil Zeremata hasn't rebounded off that beating. This will be an opportunity to cross-compare performances between Jaime Munguia and Gennady Golovkin. Though even with this replacement opponent, even with this fight, you do still get the sense that Jaime Munguia's people are not ready to throw him in the deep end of the pool with the real sharks at 160 pounds. I mean, even with Suliecki, that was the feeling that you got. You know, he's looking at a guy like Suliecki when, you know, Demetrius Andrade needs a dance partner. Why don't you call him up?
People tend to forget that Jaime was a champion.
He was a reigning world champion in the junior middleweight division. Defended that title several times. Here he is in the middleweight division, having almost no interest in becoming a world champion again, a two-division champion. I mean, how interested could he be when you got guys like Demetrius out there, and you were content fighting Maciej Suliecki, and when that fight didn't materialize, you called up Kamil Zeremata, a replacement, a late replacement, understandable, but when exactly can we expect Jaime to fight someone for a world title? What's the ETA on that?
I'll tell you something.
Until that happens, he's going to remain what he is, a very fun, albeit limited fighter to watch.
Pretty much.
When you go ahead and you gain your revenge on July 24th, is then the focus Anthony Joshua?
You asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you. I'm like, you know, you go ahead and you do what you do to Tyson Fury, what you have in your mind, and that's violence. Is the next fight that a matchup potentially against Anthony Joshua? Or is all the focus here on Fury?
I mean, you know, my focus is definitely on Fury, but you know, I mean, is you know, after the fight, I'm very confident what I'm finna do. I'm strongly confident in what I'm about to do. They gave me the all. They can't even get me. They couldn't get me out of there when I was under conditions and stuff like that. How you hell you gonna be a full healthy Deontay Wilder? You know what I'm saying? But once I get finished with Fury, because like I said, I want that back in blood. Right in that ring. Once I do that, then of course y'all already know what I want.
Based on that interview, do you get the sense that we can expect to see Joshua versus Wilder should Deontay Wilder avenge the loss of Tyson Fury? Based on that interview,
No.
Do you get the sense that Undisputed hasn't slipped away? There's still hope. There's still a silver lining.
No.
Do you get the sense,
No.
watching that video, that we could see the Undisputed title fight that we've been deprived of for so long?
No.
In that interview, Deontay Wilder was quoted as saying, "My focus is definitely on Fury. Once I do that and beat him, then you already know what I want." But from what I'm hearing, they're already making up their excuses. You know, we're going to hear about mandatory fights and all that other bullshit, Wilder told Ray Flores, but I want them to keep the same energy. They tried to make the Fury fight. He said, "It ain't about the man, it's about the person with the belts, right?" We're going to hold their word to that. It's funny hearing Deontay Wilder talking about holding people to their word when he can't be held to his. Isn't this the same Deontay Wilder that admitted several months ago that he was offered more money to fight Anthony Joshua than he stood to make with Tyson Fury, yet he's the one who chose to fight Tyson Fury. So what, now you're going to pretend you didn't say that? Now you're going to pretend like all of that didn't happen? What, supposed to be scrubbed from the record books? Scrubbed from our memories? That tweet is still available by way of Wilder's social media account on Twitter.
It is on screen.
And you're going to have guys that try to spin it. You're going to have that small contingent, that very small faction of Deontay Wilder's fans try to spin that as if he didn't say that, but he did.
He's not keeping the same energy.
And he never has. He doesn't keep the same energy for an Anthony Joshua fight that he keeps for a Tyson Fury fight, 2 Tyson Fury fights, 3 Tyson Fury fights. He doesn't keep the energy for an Anthony Joshua fight that he keeps for 1 Luis Ortiz fight, 2 Luis Ortiz fights. He doesn't keep the same energy, and this is well documented.
We got a lot of things that's transpiring, and we're going to see what happens. Far as the big fights is concerned, I don't see now one of those happening this year.
At this point, we're done with the situation. Yeah. We're satisfied with where we're at. And our focus is on Tyson Fury right now. You know?
Deontay, what's your message to Anthony Joshua?
What's that?
What's your message to Anthony
I don't have a
Joshua?
message to Anthony Joshua. It's all about Tyson Fury, and I don't want anyone to ask me about Anthony Joshua. One in time, it ain't even about the belts no more, baby. It ain't as I said, I'm the most talked about, I'm the hottest fighter in the world right now, and I got 1 belt.
Thing. 8 months ago, they offered 10 million. Then they offered 15. Then they offered 20. Now they came back with 40.
This is a digital era, sweetheart.
Right.
You can't rewrite history. You couldn't if you wanted to, but you can try. After the first Tyson Fury fight, the fight that was scored a draw, right then and there, Deontay Wilder had an opportunity to take on Anthony Joshua because Tyson Fury, at least temporarily, he bailed on it. He goes over there to Top Rank. He signs with them. That put the fight in jeopardy. That delayed things a bit because Tyson Fury ended up having 2 fights under that promotional banner. They didn't go into an immediate rematch. That was Wilder's opportunity to go into a Joshua fight.
And he didn't.
Oh, he was still fighting. He ended up having 2 fights in between those Tyson Fury fights.
2 of them.
None against Anthony Joshua, though. So that he could turn around in 2021 and act like it's the Joshua people that have been inconsistent. After this preponderance of evidence, all this video evidence, audio.
Articles.
We've seen enough. We've read enough. We've heard enough. I mean,
Who the fuck is he trying to kid?
Wilder gets that belt back. There goes Undisputed. I mean, the whole reason that people were celebrating Tyson Fury's big win over Deontay Wilder was because of how much time Deontay Wilder wasted getting away from Undisputed. He resorted to fighting Tyson Fury instead of fighting Anthony Joshua. Tyson Fury never deserved that title shot in that first fight to begin with. But Deontay Wilder was more concerned with that than unifying this division. He was more concerned with that than becoming this division's undisputed champion. And the only reason, or at least a big part of it, big part of the reason a lot of people celebrated Tyson Fury's victory over Wilder is because they figured Fury will go into that undisputed title fight where Deontay Wilder wouldn't. And now, those people, a good number of them, they feel betrayed by Tyson Fury. They feel betrayed by Bob Arum because it looks a lot like this was always the plan. Both Eddie Hearn and John Fury have gone on to say that, the top-ranked people could have ended this arbitration, this thing with Wilder. They could have ended it in December, and they chose not to. They could have ended it, and they didn't. Now, you don't have to believe it from Eddie Hearn if you don't want to. But what about Big John Fury? Why is he saying that? Why is his candor parallel to Eddie's?
Why?
Frank Warren can jump on Box and Social and do as many interviews and cleanup jobs as he wants. The information is out there for those that are looking for it, and that information requires reconciliation. The boxing community feels betrayed by Tyson Fury, betrayed by Bob Arum. They're let down because there is a chance, Wilder gets that belt back. And, Wilder wasn't all that concerned with unifying this division when he had the belt.
Before the Fury fights.
So if he wins the belt back in July, we're right back where we started, which is nowhere. Because I don't believe for a second Wilder's going to go into that undisputed title fight. I'd sooner believe that if he wins that belt back, and I think there's a chance he will, I've often talked about why here on the channel.
It's scripted.
I think if he reclaims the WBC title, he's not going to fight Anthony Joshua afterwards. He's going to go into an Andy Ruiz domestic pay-per-view here in America. He will choose almost any and every alternative to a Joshua fight.
Undisputed is dead, my friend.
And any mention of Anthony Joshua in association with Wilder versus Fury 3 is just what I always told you. They're dangling that fight in front of the boxing fans to try to get them interested in the outcome of this fight, this Wilder versus Fury trilogy. They want to entice them with the promise that the winner of the fight will go into a Joshua fight. But we've already been there and done that before Wilder even lost to Tyson Fury. And their scripted saga.
Already admitted they offered you more money to fight AJ than was on the table for you to fight Fury.
And you chose to fight Fury. You chose to fight Tyson Fury. There's a lot of things that could happen if Wilder gets that belt back. I don't view a Joshua fight being among them. Maybe they have 4 fights with each other. Maybe we get Wilder versus Fury 4. Maybe we get Andy Ruiz Jr. at the end of the year.
The nerve of this guy telling them to keep the same energy.
One face, one name, one champion, yet you've already admitted that you chose to fight Fury instead of fighting AJ when there was more money in it for you with an AJ fight. This guy's all about the gimmicks, and that's what he is. One big fucking gimmick brought to you by a music guy moonlighting as a boxing guy in Al Hyman. And just in keeping with the theme of heavyweight news, I'm sure most of you have heard by now that the WBO have granted an extension for Anthony Joshua versus Alexander Usyk talks, and Eddie Hearn said they've made an offer they feel is very fair. He insisted it's their intention to make this fight next, but refused to rule out facing someone else if they can't do a deal. Common sense, really. If things don't materialize with Alexander Usyk, they then have to materialize with someone else, unless Anthony Joshua plans on retiring, right?
Right.
This fight between Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk would undoubtedly be billed as a Sky Sports pay-per-view over there in the United Kingdom. Here in America, we'd see it as part of our DAZN subscriptions, though over there, it would still be a pay-per-view. And who knows what ambiguities await Anthony Joshua beyond that fight, provided he makes it through it. Ambiguities, nuances, in reference to what kind of deal is he going to have with Matchroom? What kind of deal is he going to have with DAZN or Sky moving forward? You know, what's going to happen with that guy? I vaguely recall hearing that his very next fight will be his last fight with Sky Sports. So beyond that, what happens?
We'll find out.
Alexander Usyk can't afford to fuck this up. I've said it before and I'll say it again. If those guys go making these negotiations harder than they have to be, maybe they get the WBO title. Maybe they put Anthony Joshua in a situation where he decides to forfeit that belt, give it to Usyk willingly. And if he does, that's a victory
It is.
in its own respect, but with the belt comes the responsibility of defending it. And the responsibility of defending that belt may not be as lucrative to Usyk and his team as fighting AJ for it would be.
Economics.
It's basically saying that whatever offer's on the table for the Usyk people right now, whatever offer it is, whatever money,
Whatever.
that money is likely greater than what Usyk would stand to make defending the title against Joe Joyce, against Filip Hrgovic, against Joseph Parker.
Think about
that
it.
fighting Anthony Joshua represents a greater financial value for a prize fighter like Usyk, in victory or defeat. Let's not kid ourselves. This is a business after all. You want to be a hardliner, you might get what a hardliner gets.
I mean, strip me then, because I'm just going to go round.
Look,
You're
put it
gonna have
this
to
way.
pick them
Put
up.
it this way.
Poker face, call their bluff.
Let's say, oh, Usyk won a hardball. Krasiuk won a hardball. Okay, motherfucker, here's the belt. Now, let's see, can you get the payday with that belt if I'm not
Yeah.
involved? No,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
No, right? Don't
Yeah.
fuck this up.
Yeah.
Don't fuck this up. You can't get, you can have, here, take the belt. Now,
Take it.
who's gonna give you the money that you were gonna make with me? Nobody, right? Wilder and Fury, they tied up. They got each other. Who you gonna fight? Dillian White? You think you gonna get the
You're not going
money?
to get the same money. No disrespect.
But it's like, yo, y'all not gonna keep walking up in here and demanding the earth,
That
the
comes
moon.
up
And,
ATM.
yeah, like what the fuck you think? I'm the champion and I'm supposed to acquiesce to you. Yo, here's the belt. Here you go.
Yeah.
You want it so bad? Now see if you can get a payday with that fucking belt when I'm not involved.
What is the domestic value? The domestic value in the United Kingdom of an Alexander Usyk versus Joe Joyce fight? I mean, I know that there are risks associated with the fight. I know that there's a chance smoking Joe Juggernaut Joyce beats this guy in a 12-round championship boxing match in the pros, as opposed to what took place in the semi-pro contest they had. So the risks are there, but is the money the same for a Joe Joyce fight as the money you get for a Joshua fight?
No.
You fucking guys know the answer.
No!
You want to sit there with your mandatory status, across the table from Anthony Joshua with all your fucking demands.
He's got demand.
You know you're already set to make a career high purse. You know you're already set to make a career high payday. and you know that this is the best bang for your buck fight that you can have. Not just right now, but overall. Nobody's going to pay you the way Anthony Joshua is going to pay you for a guy being in this position. So make the most of the opportunity, because it's more of an opportunity for you than it is for him.
Don't fuck this up.
Don't forget who the money man is here. Don't forget whose fans are financing this fight.
Don't forget who's paying who here, sweetheart.
You want to go trying your luck with these hungry young contenders that are out there, unbeaten guys the way that you're an unbeaten guy, the kind of guys that, oh, they could give you a run for your money, but they can't give you much money. You want to do that hardlining, Anthony Joshua? You want to be a hardballer? That's what you want to be at? Could cost yourself a lot of scratch and end up writing a check your ass can't cash. Check that's gonna bounce. I get the impression that Anthony Joshua is frustrated. He's just about had it with these guys, all of these guys, Usyk included. You wasted, what, something like 2.5 years on Deontay Wilder? You wasted the past 5 months of your time on Tyson Fury in a situation that looks like it was never meant to materialize. Like, these guys, they were always going to have that third fight between them, and they just wanted to waste your time to make you look bad. So you move on from that fucking frustrating situation to this Usyk situation, and Usyk wants to tell you what you should pay him.
What?
I mean, assuming that's what's going on, I'm hoping that Oleksandr Usyk and Alexander Krassyuk have already come to their senses, and for what it's worth, this news, by way of the WBO, it is encouraging. It does seem conducive towards a fight between them, and let's hope that happens. Because I'm a boxing fan. I want to see a boxing match. I want to see another fucking fight fall apart. Another fucking fight I was getting myself all ready to see. I don't want to see that happen, so let's hope that everybody is reasonable and realistic about what's going on here.
This is more of an opportunity for you than it is for him.